Anytime we hear about someone considering a move to Arizona, there's really only two cities they talk about, and that is, of course, Scottsdale. You've all heard of Scottsdale, and then Phoenix. So as you've probably seen from many of my other videos, there is so much more that the Valley has to offer. Arizona is huge. You know, I've talked about it before. I could drive 2 hours east to west or 2 hours north to south, and I'm still in my territory of housing that we take care of. But I have yet to jump in and really discuss Phoenix. And that's part of it, is because Phoenix is just so big. It's like literally the 5th largest city in the United States. So there is a lot to cover. Today, I'm just going to do a high flyover, broad view of what you might find or expect in Phoenix. And then as we go along through this journey, I'll delve in deeper to different sections in different areas and give you some home tours as well. Today you'll get to see a nice remodel of like a 1970s home that is very common here. A lot of people, especially our younger, 20 to young 30-year-olds, they're coming in and they're buying these homes in the Phoenix area that are, like 1950s to 1970s, and they are completely remodeling these homes and making them just beautiful showcases and a great place to live. I think they like the proximity to all the nightlife, the activities, the cultural events, the arts. Phoenix has everything, and I have to laugh because when we first shared with family we were moving out here, I had a family member that said to me, "Oh, do they have a Target?" And sometimes when you're from other parts of the US, you just have no idea what to expect. And yes, Phoenix has super Targets and super Walmarts, and when I just dive into some of the shopping and dining and entertainment, we were blown away when we got here. What a wonderful surprise for all of the activities, and we could do just about anything and everything we could ever imagine, literally within a 20-minute drive. As a matter of fact, it's really common when you live here in Arizona to do a staycation. I mean, we have some world-class resorts and spas literally in our backyard. And so a lot of people, if there's a deal or, in season, off season, doesn't really matter. It's phenomenal. We just drive over, we'll staycation at just the nicest place. It's so relaxing. It's a little getaway, but we didn't have to do the airport and the flying and, all the other stuff that comes with travel. So we get the best of both worlds. As you probably already know, Phoenix is the capital of Arizona. Another name that you'll hear for us here in Phoenix is Valley of the Sun. As you can imagine, we essentially have warm temps all year long, although right now as I'm filming, it's like 70 during the day and I don't know, maybe 50 at night, and we're freezing. And don't laugh, seriously, you'll be here maybe 1 year, possibly 2, and you'll be so acclimated you'll be in the same boat and you have an entire winter wardrobe to keep you warm. Some of those high-end resorts that you might want to check out, even stay at while you're here looking for your Arizona home, would be, in my opinion, the JW Marriott, Desert Ridge, the Westin Kierland. I've stayed at both of those, great places. You have Boulders, Biltmore, Arizona Grand, Tapatio. I haven't stayed at that one, but there's such a selection of relaxing places to enjoy. And then most of those places, of course, have golf courses or really well-known, phenomenal places to play nearby. So you get the best of both worlds to relax. Now, if you've had enough of the pool and the spa and the resort, and maybe you're not into golfing, but you really enjoy culture and arts, you've got to check out Roosevelt Row. That is an entire art district. So they'll have, for example, there's the First Friday Art Walk. They have art and cultural events, just one-off. For example, I'm filming this just after the Dia de los Muertos festival that just happened. And then, of course, we have state fairs and rodeos. There's the symphony hall, jazz festivals. That's more my style. I love that. There's plays and professional dance performances that you can see. Farmers market, the Orpheum Theater, hot air balloons. Phoenix has 1.65 million people just in the city of Phoenix alone, which is just crazy. And like I said, you can drive an hour in any direction, you're still in Phoenix. So you're going to see a lot of everything with the housing. They have all kinds of housing. So for example, on those 1950s to 70s homes, we are going to make sure there's a sewer scope inspection on each of those houses, because there's different things that you'll see in different parts of the valley. Those particular homes, most of them were built with what's called Orangeburg pipes, and they're starting to crumble, and it's a very, very costly and invasive repair process. And easily you could see something along the lines of $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 in repairs. So it's super important that as we're exploring the Phoenix area for housing, we know what we're looking at. Now, conversely, Phoenix has a lot of condos, and so those condos usually are, stacked condos. And one of the things that we look for there is, what is the parking situation? Are you getting one parking spot, two parking spots, an actual garage? How about the HOA, in regards to what kind of surplus do they have? Are you going to get hit after you purchase the home with an assessment because the HOA is covering, the roof and the common areas, and there's all of a sudden not enough money, and they need you to cut a big fat check to help contribute to that? But then above and beyond those standalone homes and the condos, we also have multi-million dollar houses that are literally what look like complete estates on their own. And then we have brand new housing in there as well. Then you might drive through 5 miles later and there's another neighborhood where all the homes have bars on the windows. It's to each their own, the best fit for you of what you're looking for. There's going to be entire communities, large communities of manufactured homes. And so it's a very diverse housing market, and they all come with their own individual special needs. The manufactured homes, most of those, you own the home, but you do not own the land it's sitting on. So you pay every single month what's called a land lease, and that goes up every single year. And if you're thinking, okay, well, how much could that really be? Well, yeah, you bought your home for, $70,000, $100,000. Hey, that's super affordable, but that land lease often is easily $900 a month. And again, that goes up every single year, and there's certain things you can and can't do that you must abide by. For example, many of them are age restricted, and they have very specific rules in regards to who can live in that home with you, or if you can have one pet or two pets, and the weight of the pet. So it's super important that you have an experienced realtor that can walk you through the different type of housing, the different areas, what's the best fit for you, and how do we make sure that we've covered all of those items. You're going to see in Phoenix some of the areas that are HOA and then no HOA. Well, in some of those HOA communities, they might say that you can do short-term housing, but a minimum of 1 month. Not, putting a short-term Airbnb in there and having people change over every week. That could be an issue. In some Phoenix areas, you will see you're on what's called a county island. In other words, where you may need to buy some other fire subscription service and certain community amenities that you might think, you call the ambulance company, they're just going to pop right over and there's no cost to that, may not be true. And so there's a lot of digging involved, and you really have to explore what's important to you. One of the ones we run into a lot in the HOA situation is perhaps somebody in the home drives a work truck or a work vehicle that's not an emergency vehicle, because there was a law passed about that. Now, if you drive what's considered an emergency style vehicle, like for example, internet, that's considered an emergency need if services go down, that the internet get back up. You can't even park it in your own driveway if it has any form of company signage on it. And a lot of times when people work for a company, that vehicle has been wrapped, and there's different rules we have to know about and make sure that we consider when you're looking to purchase a home in the Phoenix area, really any part of Arizona. I came from the Northwest, where at that time, 20 years ago, I didn't even know what an HOA was. We didn't have communities that we lived in anyway, and nobody in our family that we knew of that lived in anything that was even remotely close to an HOA. So that was a learning curve for us when we came here to the Northwest and went, what do you mean? If we want to paint our house purple, we're painting it purple. Nope, not in Arizona. Depending on where you are, not in Arizona. So as you can see, we have a huge diversity of housing in the Phoenix metro area. Probably the only second closest to having as much diversity in the housing style would be Mesa. And again, it's because both Phoenix and Mesa are just massive in size. The biggest difference being in the Phoenix area, not only do you have such a variety of price point and style of single detached homes, but you're going to see probably the biggest amount of multifamily homes with condos, townhouses, that kind of setup. Now, earlier we did a little pop through of a house we had for sale that had been fully remodeled, the 1970s house I was telling you about. Now I'm going to put in a different house that we are listing in the South Mountain, or it's also Phoenix, but South Mountain area. As you'll see, this home is closer to $1 million price point. It's on about a half acre. It's very new and current as well. Very updated look. It's gorgeous. Huge garage, gated entry into the home. But as you'll see, it's very hit and miss just even within that own neighborhood in the style of housing. You'll have, right next door maybe a home that was built in 1940 and has never been updated in any way, shape, or form. So we find people are either hardcore in one of two camps. Either they really like HOAs and they like the fact that people are forced to maintain a certain look within the community, and everything's kind of standardized and you know what you can expect, or people hate HOAs. Now, if you hate HOAs and you don't want to be told what to do and you want to park 6 cars in your driveway, then Phoenix might be a really good fit for you, because there is so much variety and diversity of housing and a much larger section of homes that don't have HOAs. As I've said in prior videos, of course, if it is in a gated community, you can pretty much be sure you're going to be in an HOA community, but Phoenix can be very affordable. We see that the overall median price is about $465. Now, as I mentioned, it's all the way from that affordable $465 price for us here up into the millions and millions of dollars. It just depends, where we're looking in Phoenix. Now, you might be wondering, where's everybody coming from? We find that our biggest influx into the Phoenix area is coming from, big surprise, areas like Oregon, Washington, Los Angeles, and Chicago. We hear the saying, of course, how they'd much rather shovel sunshine than snow. So we have a heavy influx from there. It seems like most of the folks that I see from like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, a lot of times those are our seasonal homeowners. Not saying that they don't transplant as well, but we find that a lot of times initially for the first few years they end up owning a second home here and going back and forth before they finally make a decision to just stay here permanently, if they do that. Now, the totality of Phoenix is about the size of Delaware, if you are trying to wrap your brain around how big we are. And Phoenix as a whole is kind of in the middle, and it bridges what we here locally call our East Valley and our West Valley. Our East Valley, you've seen probably in many of my other videos, would encompass cities like Tempe, Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Queen Creek, Santan Valley. And then our west side, on the other side, you'll see more like Glendale, Litchfield Park, Tolleson, Surprise, and then of course way out there, Buckeye with the Tolleson, and then Scottsdale kind of bridges right along the Phoenix area as well. That's why Scottsdale, Phoenix, a lot of times the houses will look the same. You can't tell if you're in one area versus the other when you're over in the Scottsdale, Phoenix border. So you really we'll just double check and make sure what's the legal address if it's Scottsdale or Phoenix. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have houses that, in the median priced around $465, but then we have some of these more expensive luxury neighborhoods, such as Arcadia is a really well-known luxury neighborhood here. It's about 1.5 million just to get in with like a starter home in the Arcadia area, and that is definitely a Phoenix address. Some other popular subdivisions that you might see on social media or hear from your friends are Alhambra, that's near Grand Canyon University. We have Camelback East Village. I already mentioned Arcadia. Desert Ridge is a really popular, really big, thriving area. Then, of course, there's downtown Phoenix with the ASU campus and a lot of walkability, that nightlife, the cultural events, the dining, it's really that urban downtown experience if you're looking for that type of setup. Then we have Paradise Valley Village, which have Stone Creek Golf Course and Orange Tree Golf Course. You might have seen those online. And then Encanto Village, which is more midtown and has Encanto Park nearby, which is 20 acres of just peace. I mean, it has a huge fish catch and release lagoon, which is really popular here, a couple golf courses, paddle boat, an amusement park with bumper cars. I mean, this place, Encanto Park, has a little bit of everything. I could talk about Phoenix without, of course, covering our sports. And we had the Phoenix Suns, if basketball is your thing. And then you may not realize this, but at our Footprint Center, we have the Phoenix Mercury, which is our WNBA team as well. And then I've mentioned in other videos how fun spring training is here. We have so many people that literally just fly in to catch some spring training games because it's fun, it's low key, it's not expensive. And of course, you're soaking in all the great Arizona weather because it's the perfect time to be here. But we have, of course, the Diamondbacks. So the on-season Diamondback games are fantastic as well. Tons of entertainment for the kids, not much of a drive. It's just a lot of fun to take in some Diamondback games. And then we have the Arizona Rattlers, which is an indoor football team. I have several close friends that love watching the Rattlers play, so that's great. And then, of course, we're always home to the Fiesta Bowl, the Cactus Bowl for college football, Waste Management. That is a good time. Done that a few times. Make sure you Uber there, Uber back, and plan for lots of time to get there and back because the traffic is gnarly. We've got NASCAR. We have Barrett-Jackson if you're into all the cool cars. I mean, there is stuff to do here in Phoenix. So as I mentioned earlier, Phoenix is about a 20-mile spread in any direction, but really with traffic, you would always want to budget for about an hour potentially. Phoenix does have a light rail system that goes north through the downtown area and passes by some hotels and a museum. It does a little bit better public transportation, but overall, Arizona in general does not have a huge public transit setup. And I can say that coming from Portland. I grew up on buses, literally, transferring at a very young age from, the 72 to the number 8 to the 5, or jumping on our Max light rail system. You could get to just about anywhere in Portland with their public transit system, and it's not quite the same here in Phoenix. So it's usually a best bet if you're coming in to plan to get a rental car, or perhaps, link up with a friend that has a car here locally. During COVID, we saw the city of Phoenix grow by about 13,000 people just that year. I think the huge draw, of course, was in our area, we were quite a bit more lax on the COVID rules and regulations. And then even if you were hardcore, quarantine, we just had the great weather. So we saw that became the second most popular destination to San Antonio, probably for the very same reasons of the beautiful weather and the affordability. If Phoenix is on your relocation potential list, shoot me a message. Let's link up, whether it's in 9 weeks, 9 months. As you can see, I love sharing about Arizona, and I love talking about real estate. So I'd be honored to be a resource for you and help answer questions as you make that decision and navigate if Arizona truly is your next destination.